Hold up, before you toss that salad, bite into that apple, or pack your lunch like it is all clean and healthy, there is one super simple step that a lot of people still skip, and honestly, it matters more than most people realize. What I do, and what I recommend you do too, is wash your produce. Yeah, I am talking about the fruits and vegetables you pick up from the grocery store, the fresh plant-based foods, the good stuff from the produce section that everybody says is healthy. Absolutely, buy them. That is the move. But before you prepare them and eat them, wash them under cold running water for at least 60 seconds. That is the real deal. In my own house, what I do is grab one of those big metal mixing bowls, the deep wide ones, and I put the fruits and vegetables right in there. Then I fill it up and let the water run. Simple, no fancy drama. The key thing is not to overcrowd it, because if you cram everything in there, the water cannot really get in and do its job properly. Let the water reach everything, let it flow through, and you will actually be shocked by how much dirt comes off the food. I mean, seriously, you will see grime you probably did not even know was there. That dirt can be from the farm, of course, or from the container they were packed in, maybe on a truck, a train, a plane, or wherever they were shipped from, and then it could have sat in the back of the grocery store and been loaded onto the shelf where you picked it up. Even if you buy from a farmer's market, there can still be some schmutz on it that you really want to wash off. 60 seconds of cold running water can take care of most of that stuff. And according to USDA guidelines, that same washing can also help remove bacteria from most foods too. So, this is not just some neat little habit, it is actually a smart step. Most foods have had some contact with plastic at some point along the road from the field to your plate, so this is your chance to clean some of that off before it goes into your body. And by the way, while we are on this topic, try to avoid buying or storing your food in plastic when you can. That means skip those plastic bags in the produce section if possible. Instead, get a reusable cloth bag that you can bring back again and again. That is not just better for your body, it is better for the planet too, because it cuts down on all that plastic that gets used once and thrown away. And let us be real, a lot of that plastic is going to end up somewhere we absolutely do not want it ending up. A chunk of it can even end up in your own body. So get a cloth bag and reuse it. That is cleaner, smarter, and way more sustainable. Another thing I want you to seriously avoid is those plastic food storage containers. I used to have them all over the house myself. I grew up with them. Back then, my mom would say, "Oh my gosh, these are so convenient for storing food." And honestly, she had a point in the old days. They were inexpensive, lightweight, strong, colorful, and they stacked easily. They seemed like the perfect solution. But that was then, and this is now. We now understand that plastic storage containers can shed plastic right into the food. The lid is actually okay in many cases, so my suggestion is this. Use a glass bowl, a Pyrex bowl, or metal for the part that touches the food. And a plastic lid is fine as long as it is not directly contacting the food itself. That is the safer way to do it. These are the little things that are worth thinking about because they add up over time. Now, what about foods you bring home that have thin skin, like apples or cucumbers? For those, if you have a soft brush, not a plastic brush, but one with bristles, or even one made with bamboo like those bamboo scrapers people use, rinse them and brush them off, then dry them with a clean, real cloth towel. Not one of those plastic microfiber towels, I mean a real cotton towel. That is how it used to be done, and honestly, those older habits were not silly at all. Back in the day, parents when they were kids, and grandparents, they often dried things with a towel. They probably washed the food too, and they did not have nearly as much plastic around them for storage. So in a way, some of those old school habits make a lot of sense now. The truth is, it is basically impossible to avoid all microplastics. We breathe them in from the air, they are around us everywhere, and even tires are a huge source because they wear down on the road and flake off tiny plastic bits all over the place. We inhale that stuff. It is just part of the environment now. But even though you cannot avoid everything, every single step you take on purpose matters. The way you buy your food, the way you wash your food, the way you store your food, the containers you choose, the cookware you use, all of that can lower your exposure over time. For example, do not be cooking your food with a plastic spatula. Seriously, get wood or get metal. Little changes like that may not sound huge in the moment, but they do make a difference over time when you keep stacking them up. Now, let us talk about something pretty interesting that researchers have been digging into, because once we start talking about microplastics, naturally the next question becomes, can we actually get rid of them? So researchers have looked at ways of reducing microplastics that are already in your food. And the question is, if they are in food and you eat them, is there something we can eat along with the food that may help stop those microplastics from getting into our blood vessels? The answer is yes. And the thing that helps lower the absorption of microplastics into your body is something you should already be eating anyway. It is dietary fiber. Fiber is one of those absolute no-brainer nutrients. First, it keeps your bowels moving so you are more regular. That alone is important. But the more important reason is that fiber feeds the healthy bacteria in your gut. Gut health matters a lot. When those bacteria are well fed, they release compounds called short-chain fatty acids into the bloodstream, and those short-chain fatty acids lower inflammation, improve brain health, improve metabolism, and even help you heal faster. So fiber is already a superstar. You should be eating it regardless. But now there is another reason to care about it. We are beginning to discover that dietary fiber may also help your body flush out microplastics. That is pretty cool, right? This new research from Henan University in China suggests that not eating enough dietary fiber can make it harder for the body to clear microplastics, which means fiber may help your system get rid of them more effectively. So I told you about the problem, and now we are looking at a possible solution. There are 3 different ways fiber can help your body deal with microplastics. Number 1, when you eat fiber, it can actually bind to microplastics already inside your gut. So picture this. You are eating regular food, and along with that food, you are going to be eating some plastic too, whether you like it or not. But if you are eating food that contains dietary fiber, the fiber can stick to those microplastics so they do not get absorbed into your bloodstream. That is a big deal. Number 1, fiber can bind to them and help keep them moving through your system. Number 2, dietary fiber can strengthen the lining of your gut. Think of your gut like a tube, like a big garden hose. That is your gut, basically. It is about 40 feet long from your mouth to your anus, and the lining of that tube has to stay strong. If that lining gets weak, holes can open up, and then stuff from the inside starts getting through. That is what people call leaky gut. It is actually pretty common. Leaky gut syndrome is more common than people thought. And as a doctor, I can tell you we were not really taught a lot about this in medical school. But now we are realizing that it actually happens fairly often, and that lining is more delicate than people used to think. Dietary fiber helps strengthen that lining and tighten it up. That means less leaky gut, and if the gut is less leaky, then microplastics in the gut are less likely to sneak out into the bloodstream. So fiber not only binds to the microplastics and helps move them along so you can poop them out, it also helps tighten the gut lining so there is less chance of leakage. And number 3, fiber feeds the bacteria, and that bacteria can help your body counteract any plastics that do make it into your bloodstream. Microplastics can trigger inflammation, as I mentioned, and well-fed gut bacteria from dietary fiber can help lower that inflammation. So if microplastics are causing trouble, your fiber intake helps support your gut microbiome, which then helps push back against the inflammatory effects. In other words, fiber can block, remove, and protect. It blocks absorption, helps remove what is already there, and helps protect your body from some of the damage. That is another major reason to eat more dietary fiber. So let me give you some pro tips on how to protect yourself against microplastics based on everything we have talked about so far. First, eat a diet that is rich in fiber. Fruits, vegetables, and mushrooms all contain dietary fiber. Avocados have dietary fiber too. Legumes such as white beans, black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, and lentils are all great sources of dietary fiber. Whole grains are also a smart choice. There are already lots of reasons whole grains are good for you, and now fiber gives you another one. It may actually help protect you against some of the harm caused by microplastics. Nuts and seeds are another great option. Tree nuts like walnuts, pecans, almonds, pistachios, macadamias, and Brazil nuts all bring fiber to the table, and that fiber may help protect you against microplastics, along with the other beneficial things those foods do for your body. Another helpful category is soluble fiber. You will find that in oats, flax seeds, lentils, apples, day-old rice after you refrigerate it, and baked potatoes after you refrigerate them. Those foods start turning regular starch into resistant starch, which then feeds the gut microbiome. They are effective at binding toxins too, including the kind of stuff we are talking about here. Another thing you can do is stay hydrated. I always tell people to stay hydrated because the body is made of roughly 50 to 70% water, and when you are well hydrated, everything moves more smoothly. Your blood flows better, your digestion works better, and the fiber you eat does its job better when there is enough water in the system. So hydration is a real part of the equation. Get a water filter too, because you want to make sure the water you drink is actually clean, or at least find a really clean source of water. And when it comes to dietary fiber, it is best to get it from food, and it is best to mix it up. Your body and your gut bacteria do not just want the same exact source every single day. They like variety. You can take a supplement that contains fiber, sure, but it is much better to mix it up through different foods, because that is better for your body overall. A diverse range of foods helps your gut microbiome, and that, in turn, lowers inflammation, which is one of the ways you can help counter whatever inflammation microplastics might cause. Let me give you a quick recap of everything we have covered in this video. First, microplastics are something you want to avoid as much as you reasonably can because they can get into the body, and now they have even been found in the human brain. So take them seriously. You can lower your exposure by avoiding plastic containers, plastic bags, plastic bottles, plastic cooking utensils, plastic plates, and plastic cups. When you go to the ball game or a party and you see all those red plastic cups everywhere, think twice about that. That is one of those everyday things people do not question enough. Eat more fiber to help flush out any microplastics that are going to be in your food anyway. Because let us be honest, you cannot avoid every single bit of it, but you can lower the risk. And when it comes to heavy metals like cadmium, lead, arsenic, and mercury in your water, try steeping some tea. You can drink the tea and still get beneficial polyphenols, which may help lower inflammation, improve your metabolism, cut off blood supply, starve cancers, and support brain health and gut health too. And here is another reason tea is interesting. Steeping tea, whether it is black tea, powdered tea, or tea in a cellulose bag, can actually bind and pull heavy metals out of the water. So that is a neat extra benefit. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button and subscribe if you have not already, and share the video with somebody you know so they can subscribe too. That is how we get this information out there to more people. This is practical stuff that can genuinely help health. These are simple steps we can actually take in everyday life. And that is it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Dr. Lee out. Hey, if you liked that video, then you are going to love this one. Check it out.